4434 Crenshaw Boulevard in Los Angeles, near Vernon Avenue, from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. weekdays. That's 4434 Crenshaw in historic Leimert Park. During the holidays and every day, let's remember, we keep us safe. We keep us warm. We are the safety net. And together, we can cover the unsheltered. Get caught up in the spirit of the season, the spirit of love. Make a difference with your friends at KBLA Talk 1580.
For the people. This is street radio for unsung hero. Riding in the Rego, trying to stay legal. My daughter found Nemo, I found a new primo. Yeah, you know how we do it for the people and the struggle of the brothers and the folks, the lovers of the dope. Experiment to discover hope, scuffle for notes. The rougher I wrote, times was harder. Went from rock started to the voice of a martyr. Why white folk focus on dogs and yoga? My people on the low end trying to ball and get over. Lyrics are like liquor for the fallen soldier. From the bounce to the ounce, it's all our culture. Every day we hustling, trying to get them customers. Law we ain't trusting them. Thick bras, we lusting them. Sick and tired of punching it. I look on the bus at them. When I see them struggling, I think I'm touching them. The people.
About the people.
KBLA Talk 1580. Time to do that daily deep dive. We learn a little something more with a person of interest, and we are pleased to have he's the publisher of the West Side Gazette and exemplifies the spirit of leadership, innovation, and success. He's active in his church. He's actually the chairman of the National Newspaper Publishers Association, the National Association of Black Journalists awardee, and he's also a member of Omega Psi fraternity. All that while publishing an award-winning weekly newspaper. Bobby Henry Sr., good morning.
Hey, good morning. When you gave me that introduction, I was trying to figure out, wow, I wonder who she's talking about. Thank you so very much. And it is indeed an honor to be on your show. As I said when I was asked to appear, how did this come about? How did I become so fortunate to be able to be on a show? I'm serious.
I'm laughing
your father,
because
your legacy.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I'm serious. This is nothing to play with. And a lot of times we take things for granted, and we don't truly understand, the position that we find ourselves in. Now, to whom much is given, much is expected. But we don't really understand that. We just think that's a cliche until we find ourselves in situations like this. Like I was actually humbled, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. When we are placed in different positions and roles of so-called leadership, it's nothing to think that we have done all that, because we ain't done nothing. So,
well, I mean, it's just like you say, oh, well, who were you talking about when I introduced you? That's because you're too busy getting stuff done to be sitting around worrying about your accolades. But nonetheless, the work is super important. So for those not familiar, share what the National Newspaper Publishers Association really is, because it's more than just a bunch of people that have journals or tribunes. This is an activist organization.
Yes, it is, and thank you so very much. And I want to start by saying this: one of our publishers, Larry Lee, the Sacramento Observer, just celebrated 60 years, and unfortunately, I couldn't make it to his event because I was suffering with the flu. So I want to say congratulations, Larry, to you and your family. We understand what the struggle is, and being a part of the NNPA is an organization of over 240 Black-owned newspapers, not Black targeted, not somebody
break it down.
Not some puppet. Yeah, not some puppet. We are Black-owned newspapers. We are Black publishers, and most of us, all of us, basically are family-started newspapers. So we came up in the struggle. We understand what it means to really be a part of the struggle, and putting together a newspaper, being a voice for voiceless people, has been a challenge for over 196 years. Now the first black newspaper was printed in 1827. And if we think about it, how many other black businesses have been around for over 196 years to come through the struggle and be that voice? And trying to prepare myself for this show, Miss D, I was looking at some of the names that came before us, like a Dr. Carlton B. Goodlett and a John H. Sinstack and a Carl Murphy. These were black men. I'm not discounting black women, and that Ida B. Wells and Doll Carter and those, and Dr. Lavelle and those people. I'm not discounting black women at all. I'm talking about people who stood in the gap for people who were willing to give up their lives. And the NNPA, even though the black press has been around since 1827, the NNPA was founded in 1940 by Dr. Lord have mercy, I want to get this right, Sinstack. And you have to understand the history of these individuals. Mr. Sinstack family his father was a white German, and his mother was a slave from Africa. And out of this union came this young man whose family was extremely instrumental in freedom. And out of that came his need, or his will to publish not one newspaper but several newspapers. And then you have people like Dr. Carlton B. Goodlett over in California, who was the epitome of what a black politician, a black publisher, a black community activist was. So much so that people fought him for this, but he was the doctor of James Jones, the guy who committed, the crazy guy who drank the
Jim Jones,
Kool-Aid.
yeah, Jonestown,
yeah. So our organization, our history is steeped in some controversy, good and indifferent, but it's steeped in the tradition of being a voice for the voiceless. And the NNPA, again, I say of over 240 black newspapers led by our president, Dr. Benjamin F. Chavis, and myself as the chairman. And we continue to hold up the banner of what it is to be the voice of a people. I hope I did some due diligence to that.
Yeah, there's a lot of great content in there that we can look at a little more closely, because I don't think a lot of us are familiar with it, and it is important. I didn't even realize that the first black paper was 1827. That's remarkable.
1827, Miss D.
Yeah, you can just call me Dominique. Dominique works. Yes, indeed. I appreciate the love, though.
Dominique. Okay, thank you, Dominique.
1827, that's a long time. I mean, when you think about the timeline of our so-called emancipation, we were publishing papers in 1827. That's pretty remarkable.
I think in 1827, now, slavery and all this other stuff was happening, and here you had two men, Reverend Cornish and the businessman John Russworm, to think enough to come together and try to create a voice, to be that angel on the shoulder talking to these people of how the injustices of slavery and what was happening to black people, how inhumane and cruel this was, and they were willing to do that. And then you had Frederick Douglass to come out, the one who asked America the question, what do I or those I represent to do with your national independence? And he came along with a newspaper. Then there were Ida B. Wells to question the slavery and all the other hideous activities that were being perpetrated from what's supposed to have been this great country of ours. So out of that came the freedom fighters.
I mean, I think it's important to put it in that context, because even if we forward to today, the tradition of the black press is different than other press. We're coming out, I mean, literally, like I said, I didn't realize this, but literally 1827 when we were the Emancipation Proclamation is what, 1862? So you're talking about, decades before we were even supposedly allowed to be reading and writing. that were publishing paper. That's got to set some kind of foundation of progressive or liberation thought as a basis for that tradition.
Absolutely, and from that bloodline came the soldiers without swords, is what we were called at one point, because we were fighting wars without guns or bullets. We were using the ink and our blood to tell the story, to ask to be recognized. Had it not been for the black press, that people would have not known of the birth of black babies or the graduations or the job promotions or all of the other recognitions and things that contributed to us as a race of people to be a part of history. History would not have been recorded in its rightfulness as it pertains to black people had it not been for the black press and those that were represented. During a time like in World War I or World War II, when we were fighting to be equal, had it not been for the black press, our stories would have not been told. Truman and the rest of the gang would not have allowed equal rights in the armed forces, if you will, had it not been for the black press.
We are talking with Bobby Henry Sr. He's the chairman of the National Newspaper Publishers Association. I want to talk about the role of the black press now when we come forward. I want to talk about especially the survival of the black press and go a little deeper on something you said earlier, black owned versus black targeted. All that straight ahead on KBLA Talk 1580.
A safe place to go loud. A great place for progressive politics. KBLA Talk 1580. Environmental justice, pollution, and climate. In Los Angeles and across America, people of color are suffering and dying from disproportionate health impacts on a planet that has less than 10 years to prevent irreversible damage. Heat illnesses, respiratory illnesses, water-related illnesses, food system impacts, insect-related diseases, black maternal health, and mental health effects. As the impacts of climate change mount, millions of vulnerable people, our people, are going to bear the brunt of these extreme environmental events, which will likely lead to forced displacement, loss of cultural identity, and other related risks. These realities are as real as rain. Stay tuned to KBLA Talk 1580 for more details about the most progressive multimedia and live events campaign any black media outlet has ever undertaken to combat the climate catastrophe. Experts, events, empowerment. It's all on the way from unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We don't black down. We level up.
Level up, 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 level up.
The City of Los Angeles Civil Rights Department and its LA Repair Participatory Budgeting Program invite nonprofit organizations to submit proposals to turn community ideas into reality. More than $5.4 million is available to make a difference in the Arleta, Pacoima, Westlake, Skid Row, South LA, Leimert Park, and Harbor areas. Don't wait. Proposals are due on November 29th at noon. To apply, visit repair.lacity.gov. LA Repair gives people real power over real money. Visit repair.lacity.gov.
This week at Target, you'll find different early Black Friday deals. Get fun deals on the latest tech, toys, and video games, plus smart deals on small appliances, floor care, and so much more. At Target, you'll discover different early Black Friday deals each week. And get what you need for the holidays fast with free drive-up or score free shipping when you spend $35 or use your red card at Target.com. Get low prices and early Black Friday deals only at Target. Exclusions apply.
Just be natural. Try to roll around in it gracefully and not like a puppy.
Maria's photography studio is zooming into a flurry of projects.
Where did I put that memory card?
She needs an assistant to keep business in focus.
Hang on while I change the external flash. Oh,
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Waking up with some knowledge and some news. We're joined by the chairman of the National Newspapers Association, Bobby Henry Sr. You just got us on track to talk about quite a few different things. But earlier in the show, we were discussing the idea of verified black-owned and, the Black Lives Matter grassroots campaign of Black Xmas, which is Build Black, Buy Black, and something else black, which I can't think of right now.
For blacks? Is that for blacks?
Yeah, and it's really making that distinction between, as you said, it's Build Black, Buy Black, and Bank Black. That's the third thing. Okay. So it's making the distinction between, black stuff that appeals to us and stuff that actually enriches us, literally. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So break that down with papers, because I think, papers, magazines, even television stations, we assume something's black-owned because it has the word black in it.
No, and that in itself is a misleading point. I'm gonna just use this for an example. When we used to say, I'm an African American, and I heard a white person say that they were an African American, and I said, well, how do you say that? And they told me they were from South Africa. So anyway, it's just some things that we use to convolute or just misrepresent the truth. But as it pertains to black-owned versus black-targeted, I remember back in the day, and this was some years ago, when I first met Tavis or Smiley, even heard him mention some things, and they were talking, him and Tom Joyner were talking about urban radio and targeted and all this stuff. So, but when it comes to black-owned media, it is media that is owned by black people, that represent black people, which is different than something that's owned by somebody that's different and say that it's black this, and it's not. It is very important that we see, young folks see black people in ownership of their businesses, not under the flagship of some other entities. When I normally address audiences, especially young audiences, my first thing is, look, we are a black-owned newspaper. I'm not a racist. I am a realist. I understand if we don't own it, then we really have no say-so in it when you get right down to it. And I'm not talking about just based upon a percentage. I'm talking about 100% black-owned. I'm not talking about 75, 91 point. No, I'm talking about it's owned because we put our whole soul into it. Not like the pig and the egg, or the pig and the chicken at breakfast. Yeah, the egg is in it, but the pig is committed. And so they're
make me want some vegan breakfast, but yeah.
Okay,
I'm just kidding. But no, I mean, I think it's important, even, this radio station, KBLA Talk 1580, is black owned, is owned by Tavis Smiley, that because we listen to a lot of our own, our own music, or even our own pundits on other stations. Sometimes we don't make the distinction, and many people don't even realize there are only 5 black-owned talk radio stations in the whole country, among thousands and thousands of talk radio stations. Only 5 are black-owned. Only 1 is west of the Mississippi. That's us. And so I wonder about, and we've seen it with BET. And I don't know about, I know some of the big black publications have gone in and out of various levels of black ownership as far as magazines and such. How do you even track that?
Okay. There within in our organization, you have to be black owned. There's no question about it. Now,
so if they're part of the NNPA, we know they're 100% verified black-owned. They're not. That is part of the requirement to be a member.
That is correct.
That
is correct, and we say that unapologetically, And Dominique, we can attribute some of our downfall to the fact that once we allow ourselves to be partnered with or associated to, there's an opportunity for us to be overwhelmed. You know, when the small business get in bed with a bigger company, 9 times out of 10, that small business will be overtaken and it will be gone. There will be that small business will not exist again. And yep, along the way, some of our media companies have partnered with and gotten in bed with other entities and found themselves swallowed up. So they're no longer black owned. That full representation is no longer there, and we allow that to happen, wanting to. I don't want to just say expand, but again, that green-eyed envy monster wanting to be like them causes us to lose out on who we are.
Mm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I remember Essence magazine moved away from, black ownership. They had a partnership situation. And then in 2018, I believe they reacquired that company. That happens sometimes too, but many times when when a black brand becomes successful and well regarded, it is desirable. It is gobbled up by a bigger corporation, and then changes inevitably take place. Let's get back to the NNPA again, National Newspaper Publishers Association. It doesn't say anywhere that it's black, but apparently 240 black-owned publications are part of this. It says on your website, which is nnpa.org, the black press believes that America can best lead the world away from racial and national antagonisms when it accords to every person, regardless of race, color, or creed, full human and legal rights, hating no person. The black press strives to help every person in the firm believe that all are heard as long as anyone is held back. That sounds more like a social activism, a social justice agenda than a business strategy. Talk to me about that.
Okay. Well, now remember the first papers we are advocates, and being an advocate, it's more, I guess, and I don't want to say that we're a bunch of socialists, but we believe that again, in order for all of us to move forward, everybody has to. So we take on that mantra, being looking at it as a cause. The business aspect came into play, and I must go back to this. The first newspaper, Freedom's Journal, they began to fall out because of business versus social part. So that created a rift, and that paper and that first paper folded because of that. So here we are. We find ourselves today in a situation. Well, we say we have to have advertising to stay in business. Now, do we allow the advertisers to dictate what message we say in the pages of our newspaper? Do we not tell the truth as it pertains to the message that needs to be presented, not only of the news, but of the uplifting of the people? There is a, I don't want to say a balancing act, because there is no balancing act when it comes to telling the truth and standing up for what's right. Now, so here we find ourselves. The first newspapers were made to exist and existed because of the readers. The readers, not the advertisers. The readers were the one who kept those papers into existence. And then today, here we find the advertisers, and we find ourselves caught between a rock and a hard place. Or you find some publications or some media outlets trying to dance between the raindrops. to do a balancing act. So the NNPA, the National Newspaper Publishers Association, is a trade organization of over 240 newspapers where we try to keep each other in business by trying to tell the story, report the news, and be as genuine as we can and truthful to alert the advertisers to the need to support the cause of the people. Now, here is where the struggle comes in. You have our readers. You have our readers who want to be informed, but yet and still they want to move forward. But in moving forward, they leave all of the lineage and the legacy behind. So they move forward with nothing to show for it, but reaching and grabbing for a pipe dream. And that includes some of our organizations too. You know,
we just go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead,
no,
Dominique.
we just got about 30 seconds before news, traffic, and sports. And after we come back from news, traffic, and sports, I want to talk to you about that, because this is a struggle that's not just even in black papers. Newspapers in general are a bit of an endangered species right now, as everyone is going down the internet rabbit hole, even though there's an irony to that, because most of those influencers and providers of information in cyberspace are relying on newspapers to write those articles, research those articles, and keep real, credible information in the pipeline. I want to talk to you about that when we come forward. KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
Welcome to a Wednesday. I'm Mike Moore. Now here's the latest from the Black Information Network. The House has passed a stopgap bill that will prevent a government shutdown. Tuesday, the House voted in favor of a Republican plan to fund some departments until mid-January and the rest through early February at current spending levels. The bill now heads to the Senate, where it does have bipartisan support. Imprisoned African-American music star R. Kelly is suing the federal government over allegations that his private information was leaked while he was locked up in Chicago's federal jail. The R&B star's lawyer filed a federal lawsuit yesterday claiming 60 Bureau of Prisons officers improperly accessed Kelly's records between July of 2019 and January of 2020. Some of the defendants are accused of selling the information to the outside world. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Get great deals all month long when you shop Black Friday every day at Lowe's. Get 25% off all artificial Christmas trees and tree decor. Valid through 11/15. Tree decor includes ornaments, toppers, collars, and skirts. While supplies last, selection varies by location.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
I'm a bad man. The Lakers tied a team record last night with 22 three-pointers. They beat Memphis by 27 to win their third straight. LeBron recovered from his leg bruise. He had 16 points, 9 rebounds, and 6 assists in 23 minutes. The Clippers played Denver tough last night before losing by 3. Their losing streak is now at 6, including 0-5 with James Harden. Harden had 21 points but was scoreless in the fourth quarter. Colorado football coach Deion Sanders expressed compassion for the 4 Beaumont High School students facing charges for burglarizing the Colorado locker room at the Rose Bowl on October 28th. Anonymous tips led Pasadena police to the students. 2 of the students are football players who are being recruited by UCLA. Deion wants the students to atone for what they did, but he doesn't want the incident to jeopardize their hopes for college. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, Maisha Cairo here, KBLA, live at Chase Bank on Crenshaw and Vernon for the In This Together tour with female business owners, a day of empowerment, community panels, and best of all, tips on building business from marketing to capital. Today I spoke with Tatiana, a community manager for JP Morgan Chase.
Thank you so much. Yes, my name is Tatiana Roberts. I am a community manager for JP Morgan Chase. I have to honestly say that this has been the most fulfilling position that I've ever had, where I get to give back to the community because I saw my mom's struggles. That's really what fuels what I do to make sure that that the community has all the access to the resources that my mother didn't have.
So for the mother who's in business, what are 3 quick tips you can give to ensure that they're on the right path to accessing financial support from a bank like Chase?
Say number 1, just make sure that you're checking your credit on a consistent basis and taking action to either fix your credit, maintain your credit, or rebuild your credit. The second thing would be budget. I know that B word is kind of like ugly for, right? A lot of people don't like that B word, but it has to be done. We need to tell our money where to go. The last thing is to build a network of supporters that are going to lift you up.
The community building here in Crenshaw is that network. So visit the Chase Community Center on Crenshaw and Vernon. Meet a banker today. Tell them about your business. I'm Maisha Cairo in the community for KBLA with JP Morgan Chase.
Meet LA's most affordable health plan. This open enrollment season, LA Care Covered is proud to offer the lowest cost health plans in Los Angeles County, featuring zero cost preventive services to help you achieve your wellness goals. Be part of the region's largest HMO network, featuring UCLA Health, Optum, and allied physicians without breaking the bank. We are here to help. Call us at 855-222-4239 for enrollment assistance. That's 855-222-4239. LA Care Covered. Your wellness, our mission.
Hey, Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Is this tree good for climbing? How are babies made? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, banking with Capital One is the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Even easier than choosing to keep the Grinch away from the toy drive.
Who's going to deliver the toys to the kids?
What about me, the Grinch?
No. Yep, even easier than that.
You steal the presents one time.
With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, is it even a decision? That's banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Capital One NA, member FDIC. Copyright Dr. Seuss Enterprises. Copyright Turner Entertainment Company.
Beloved Entertainment presents Sweet Spot Live with me, Angelique Francis, at the beautiful Miracle Theater at 226 South Market Street in Inglewood on Sunday, November 19th at 6 p.m. Join me with KBLA for short stories told live on stage with us, by us. Yes, our own storytellers straight from the neighborhood. Colorful and provocative live storytelling event celebrating our unique culture, our strength, our courage, our faith, and yes, our fire. We invite you to walk with us through the neighborhood, even run with us down our dark alleys if you dare. Just around the corner, there is laughter, unspeakable pain, secrets never told. But don't worry. The door is unlocked and we're going to leave the porch light on. That's Sunday, November 19th at the Miracle Theater, 226 Market Street in Inglewood, 6 p.m. Yes, it is all happening right here in the Sweet Spot. Tickets available, sweetspotlive.eventbrite.com, sweetspotlive.eventbrite.com. We got a lot to talk about.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where hate loses and love wins.
He is the publisher of the West Side Gazette and the chairman of the National Newspaper Publishers Association. Bobby Henry Sr. is our guest. Before we go off on another tangent, tell us how to connect to the West Side Gazette and also, of course, the National Newspaper Publishers Association, but we want to put a spotlight on your personal business as well.
Sure. And I want to thank you, really thank you. The West Side Gazette, you can reach us at, if you want to call in at 954-525-1489, excuse me, or our website is www.thewestsidegazette.com. The Facebook is W Gazette at the West Side Gazette. Twitter, yep, that too. Everything is under the West Side Gazette. Facebook, Twitter, social media. Yeah, we're trying to cover all bases and trying to bring. I'm a second generation of publisher, and we're working on the third generation. So we're stepping into a whole new arena in the digital aspect and social media and all that good stuff. We even do a digital show on Thursday evenings. So we're really trying, Dominique, to stay the course and bring up other black interested, knowledgeable young folk into the fold as well. Mm-hmm.
And of course, NNPA.com if you want to.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry. When you get me going, I'm out there. Yes, the NNPA, NNPA.org. You can call the office at 95. I'm sorry.
No, I said .com, so I was just correcting myself. NNPA.com org. .org.
Yeah, okay. And that office number is area code 202-588-8764. And Claudette Perry or Okina Jenkins will be the people to talk to directly. Dr. Chavis as well. Again, he is our president and our leader.
Yeah, and you guys are doing a lot of different things. I mean, of course, there's the advocacy. You have leadership awards, a national conference, an annual convention, and Black Press Week issues, forums, all kinds of stuff you guys are doing. So nnpa.org. Mikhail from LA would like to talk to you. Mikhail, you are on the air. Welcome.
Shalom, shalom. This is Mikhail, the Hebrew Israelite. It's good to hear about black businesses because we're going to leave out of here in great substance. But I wanted to talk about, the war over there in the Middle East. That is our land. That is the black people's land. We was taken out of there in 70 A.D., and we've done 400 years of slavery. Even Donald Trump passed a bill back in 2019, H.R. 1242. 400 years of Negro. So that's us in the Bible. And that war's going to go on until we go back home.
Okay, so what you're talking about, I mean, I'm talking with my guest is Bobby Henry Sr. of the National Newspaper Publishers Association. You're sharing the Hebrew Israelite perspective on the middle, not just the conflict in the Middle East, but also your understanding of the history there. I'm not sure it's on topic, but Bobby Henry, do you want to address what Mikhail is saying?
And I appreciate you, brother. I really do. And I appreciate the struggle. I'm saddened and hurt anytime that innocence is slaughtered in the streets by whomever it's done by. Now, my daddy told me one time ago, he said, son, let me tell you something. He gave me this scenario of him walking down the street and he saw this man beating this woman. And he decided to jump in. And when he jumped into the fight, they both jumped on him. And my daddy said to me, he said, son, let me tell you something. If you don't know what happened at the beginning of a fight and you don't know what's going on, don't get in that fight, because you might wind up being attacked by both of the people you're trying to protect. So I'll just use that as my understanding of a situation that I don't understand in its totality. That I'll just pray and hope that no more innocent people are killed on either side.
And Mikhail, I'm going to suggest you call in a different day because it sounds like you want to discuss, debate, explore. Who has claim to that land that is Israel, that is Palestine, that is the West Bank and Gaza. And that's a whole conversation, a long conversation of which there are many different viewpoints. And so, call me a different day. We'll talk about that. Call me when Dr. Horn is on the show or when we're just doing freestyle phones, which we typically do in the second hour of the show. Appreciate the call. We were talking about viability of newspapers in general, not just black papers, but newspapers in general is a struggling business model right now. It's weird that billionaires like Jeff Bezos have bought the Washington Post, in my opinion, because it's not a cash cow. The business model is struggling as more people switch online for their information. How would you assess the state of the black press in that environment in terms of survivability?
Okay, good question. Thank you. And Dominique, what we have, the publishers and outside consultants, what we have seen and what we're trying to do is to keep both entities thriving by using each other. Now, a part of my platform to running for the office of chair was that let us understand the viability of our newspapers. Let us understand the very importance of it. And if we look at it in the technical vein, let's use our newspapers as motherboards. And when you have a computer, your motherboard is the heart of that computer. So if we use our newspaper as the motherboard and the springboard to the technology that we need, then we'll be all right because we'll stay connected. We will never lose the connectedness of our newspaper, which is our history, which is our presence, and done correctly, it will continue to be our future. What happened in the past when these big newspapers came upon this new entity, this digital world, this instant gratification or this instant presentation of news, they got swallowed. They got swallowed up into this, you mentioned earlier, as a rabbit hole. They got caught up into this thing. It was so brand new and it was so good, it was so this, but it was also so devastating because they didn't go into it thinking properly about the entire situation. And that is what is happening with this whole technical digital aspect, and AI is proving that. So
AI is proving that's really only the beginning, although I will say I am starting to already be able to tell when AI writes an article, at least preliminarily, because they sound bad. I mean, I know it'll get better, so I'm not dismissing it, but as of right now, they sound like someone who does not have a full command of the English language wrote them. That said, I think it's important for us to, and we'll talk about this when we come forward, to support our local black newspapers. I feel like in some ways doing better than the bigger papers because those local black newspapers are providing stuff, information, knowledge, and connectivity, as you point out, that the mainstream media simply cannot offer. Continuing the conversation on KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
When you're young, life is full of choices. Don't let opioids like highly addictive and deadly fentanyl take away your life with just one wrong pill. Addiction is a disease that can affect anyone at any age. But there is a choice to get help for this disease. Find medically proven treatment options, including virtual, at choosemat.org.
Ugh, I don't have time for a cold.
Honey.
Honey?
You need DayQuil Severe Honey flavor.
DayQuil Severe Honey gives you powerful cold and flu symptom relief with a honey-licious taste. Because life doesn't stop for a cold.
Okay, I'm ready to go.
Now I'm getting a cold.
Honey.
Try DayQuil Severe Honey for powerful cold and flu relief. DayQuil Severe Honey flavor. The daytime coughing, aching, stuffy head, fever, honey-licious. Power through your day medicine.
Use as directed.
November is National Runaway Prevention and Homeless Youth Awareness Month, and the Sanctuary of Hope is shining a light on the situations that cause youth to run away or face a housing crisis. In LA County, nearly 3,000 youth are homeless on the streets each night. All month long, the Sanctuary of Hope will lead activities throughout LA County to inform and mobilize calls for action, and you can help. For more info, go to www.thesoh.org. That's www.thesoh.org.
Is your eyesight changing?
I can't read this anymore.
Don't lose hope. People just like you are working every day using Braille, screen magnification, speech technology, and other tools and blindness skills. Your eyesight may have changed, but your goals, they don't have to. We can help. Visit us on the web at blind.org. The National Federation of the Blind. Live the life you want.
Find a righteous rage and don't be afraid to say what you see. We're KBLA Talk 1580.
And we're talking with Bobby Henry Sr. He's had many a job, including sitting on the Florida Black Business Investment Board. He's been active on all kinds of different boards, member of the NAACP in his area. He is the publisher of the West Side Gazette, and he is the chairman of the National Newspaper Publishers Association. So I always think it's important to support small, black, local papers or big, black-owned, verified, owned papers. In some ways, it seems like the newspaper is an endangered species. I have a theory, Mr. Henry, that all of us, the radio stations, the TV stations, and especially the internet content providers, should pay some kind of tithe or tax, which half of a percentage or 1% or some small amount of the revenue into a fund to go to newspapers. Because if we're telling the truth, all of us are relying on the investigative reporting and the legwork that our print outlets are doing. That said, are black papers doing better than mainstream papers? I mean, it seems like it's our tradition. We rely on you guys. Is that reflected in the thriving or survival of the businesses?
And Dominique, you bring up a very interesting point. And in what you're saying is you're talking about an interconnectedness and which has been eroding, if you will, for whatever reason. But in order for us to survive, and that I'm when I say us, I mean black-owned media, be it newspaper, blog, radio, television, that whole media conglomerates. In order for us to survive, we have to work together. Again, that's a concept that we are moving toward in the NNPA, which is team, and it's spelled with two M's, TEAMM. Together, each accomplishes much more. And we're trying to do that and present that message across the board. And any opportunity that I get a chance to speak, you will hear me mention in the spirit of team. And that's the only way we're going to survive. Yes, the black newspapers are doing well. We can do a whole lot better once we collectively realize that it's going to take all of us. And that includes our black organizations. So many times we find our black organizations run into white news, and y'all forgive me, this is me talking now. This is Bobby. So many times we run to our white newspaper, white media outlets to give them the stories, to give them whatever it is, to get the coverage of those prestigious events, to be on the pages of white newspapers, to have the Urban League or the NAACP or the Lynx or the Divine Nine featured in these white newspapers. And then you come to the black newspapers later. So we got to stop doing that. We have to understand that had it not been for the black media, your behind wouldn't even be in existence. And so we have to really bring everything back home
You said that's Bobby talking, but you sound like Dominique right now. And it's also it's also electeds, because to me think of what a big deal it is for you to break a story on a Black-owned media, and then the mainstream media has to come to us to get the story.
Yes.
That is a way of supporting Black-owned media without spending a dime.
That's power. See, Dominique, you're absolutely right. Now, collectively, we can do a lot. That is power. They will come to us. We don't have to go to them. They will come to us, and that shows that we have power. But the minute we negate our power by taking some stuff to them, we are breaking down our existence. And I will speak to the Black politicians as well. Don't just, we got a election cycle coming up. We got all this is coming. So don't come to us later when crying to us because your presidential candidate is losing favor, or don't do that. Don't treat us like that. Don't come to us after the fact.
Right.
God dog it, come to us when we hear our message.
Don't treat us as a last resort. Black media is not your side piece.
All right.
We're talking with Bobby Henry Sr., chairman of the National Newspapers Publishers Association. We'll get his closing arguments, if you will, when we come forward on KBLA, Talk 1580.
The station you turn to when you've had it up to gear with cultural incompetence. KBLA Talk 1580. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Stay Housed LA has the resources you need to know your rights and the legal support to back them up. The COVID-19 pandemic has cost people their jobs and livelihoods. This has left an estimated 1/3 of households not being able to make rent and facing losing their homes. This is a fear no one in our community should have to face. You have rights, though, and Stay Housed LA is here to help. Stay Housed LA is a partnership between the County of Los Angeles, the City of Los Angeles, and local community and legal service providers. Together, they provide tenants with the information and support needed to exercise their rights so they can remain safely in their homes. Find out more about your rights by participating in a virtual tenant workshop. Get the legal assistance you need. Find additional resources in Los Angeles County and the City of Los Angeles. Stay connected to Stay Housed LA County for updates. This and more at stayhousedla.org. Stay connected to Stay Housed LA for updates. This and more at stayhousedla.org. That's stayhousedla.org. Or call their hotline at 213-694-0040. We've got your Black with a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
The Chase Ink Business Premier Card is made for people who make things happen, like me. I'm Sam, founder and CEO of Manifest, a product design company that makes everyday products designed smarter. I get 2.5% cash back on purchases of $5,000 or more, plus unlimited 2% cash back on all other purchases, which helps us make more smart ideas into a brilliant reality.
The Ink Business Premier Card. Learn more at chase.com/business premier. Chase for business. Make more of what's yours. Real business owner compensated for their participation. Account subject to credit approval. Restrictions and limitations apply. Cards are issued by JPMorgan Chase Bank. Any member FDIC.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DiPrima on First Things First.
It sure does. We're talking with Bobby Henry Sr. Congratulations, by the way, on being presented the NNPA Publisher Lifetime Achievement Award last year. And of course, you're still a publisher. Not that you've retired, but it's nice to get those flowers while you're still working. Also, the chairman of the National Newspaper Publishers Association. What do you need to say to us for sure before we wrap up today? I want to make sure we get whatever that is in.
Okay. First of all, let me say this. In January the 25th through the 27th of 2024 here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, the NNPA will be in Florida. Yes, we're coming. I know that there are some outside discussions about we shouldn't come to Florida. We shouldn't do this, and so we're bringing the argument to where it needs to be. We are facing the foe, and we need every entity that believes in the fact that if we don't confront forces that are non-conducive to uniting the people, then we are in trouble. And I'm speaking about this governor here in the state of Florida, as well as that gentleman who can't not help himself open his mouth at all times to discredit not only him and his family, but what the United States stands for. So we're coming here to Fort Lauderdale, and we will be addressing issues trying to unite different people together to fight together. And that's in January. That's the NNPA workshop in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. The other thing is that the 240 black newspapers across this country need the support of our readers, of our leaders, and of the corporations who not only take the dollars, our hard-earned dollars, but they show disrespect to us in the marketplace when they don't advertise back into our black-owned media. We need to speak daily with our dollars. If they don't advertise in black newspapers or on black radio, then don't spend any money with them. And tell other people to do the same thing. You don't have to spend your money with somebody who doesn't support your black-owned media, your black businesses. You don't have to do it. We are educated consumers. We're not some piece of property that you can just shove and tell us anything. So let's do that, and let's hold our politicians accountable, not just during election times, but throughout the year. If you don't support us, if you're not speaking to the people who are in control to say where dollars should be spent, and you're not telling them to spend dollars in black-owned media, then we don't need to have you in office. I had the beautiful experience of being at the Taste of Soul, where over 5,000 black and brown people were in the streets on Crenshaw Boulevard. I've never seen anything like that in my life.
Yeah,
and
half a million,
I've seen the power of what we can do. So let's do this together and not be afraid to do it. Let's work together to keep our existence viable. Yeah, that's what I want to say.
Well, Bobby Henry Sr., we really appreciate you joining us this morning. Thank you.
Dominique, it has certainly been a pleasure and an honor to say that I had an opportunity to speak to Brother Jones's daughter, and that is such an honor.
Love it. Brother Jones, my father, Amiri Barak, I appreciate you. The quotes are back. Today I'm going to Ida B. Wells because we're talking newspapers. She says the way to right wrongs is to turn the light of truth upon them. We try to do that around here every day. Tavis Smiley is up next. He's on that mission too. I'm Dominique DiPrima. Until tomorrow, one love.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
Welcome to a Wednesday. I'm Mike Moore. Now here's the latest from the Black Information Network. The House has passed a stopgap bill that will prevent a government shutdown. Tuesday, the House voted in favor of a Republican plan to fund some departments until mid-January and the rest through early February at current spending levels. The bill now heads to the Senate, where it does have bipartisan support. Imprisoned African-American music star R. Kelly is suing the federal government over allegations that his private information was leaked while he was locked up in Chicago's federal jail. The R&B star's lawyer filed a federal lawsuit yesterday claiming 60 Bureau of Prisons officers improperly accessed Kelly's records between July of 2019 and January of 2020. Some of the defendants are accused of selling the information